Hello there guys, it's me again, Unstable Voltage, and here is another Smite video for you. This time I am playing Assault, and I am playing as Freya. This is the first time that I've ever played Freya in any type of match. She is a mage, though strangely she's a bit of an odd character because not only is she a mage, but she's actually melee and does physical damage. Now, one of the things I did find quite funny about this particular match is that the other 4 players on our team are all hunters. Now, I think originally, in the lobby chat, they didn't realise that we had a mage, because a lot of people think that Freya is a warrior because she does melee damage. So we've got 4 hunters and a mage. It's very important to have a mage because mages deal a lot with AoE and groups of crowd, which you really need in anything where there's a lot of minions. So particularly in Assault or Conquest and in Arena, you need a mage to deal with the creep waves. Now, as you can see there, Neith has just written in the chat that we lose, that they were very negative because we had 4 hunters and 1 mage. They thought that we weren't going to be able to do this. So, Freya's skills are quite simple, really. Her passive is a necklace that grants her magical lifesteal. Now, it's a little bit strange because, as I said, her abilities are melee attack. So, her first ability is called Irradiate, which essentially makes her normal attacks do additional magical damage, and that's how you get your lifesteal. Her second ability is called Pulse, and turns her standard attacks into ranged attacks, which is what I've just popped right there, so I can actually fire a projectile. Now, Pulse not only makes her normal attacks ranged, but it also gives them AoE damage and a slow. So that's very useful for using against the creep waves, as I dive on Anubis there and almost get killed, but Neith manages to pick him up. I get an assist, but I do lose quite a lot of health in the process of doing that. Now, it is possible to use both of my abilities together. That's my ability number 3, my Banish, which basically can take an enemy god or minion, and it knocks them up in the air for a period of time. Now, during that period of time, they can't act, they can't move or do anything, but they can also, they're also invulnerable. They can't be attacked. There's my ulti, which I'll explain shortly. I was hoping to get a kill, and I did not. And her picks up the kill on Thor. So, as I was saying, the Banish allows you to knock somebody up in the air. Now, you do have to be careful because it's got quite a lot of utility. You can use it to stop somebody who's chasing after you. You can use it to stop somebody who is running away from you. But it's also quite possible to pop it at the wrong time and make someone invulnerable who was just about to be killed by one of your team's ultis. So, you do have to be careful with that. Now, my 1 and 2 abilities can both be popped at the same time, which would make my normal attacks ranged and give them extra magical damage. The only downside is if you do the 1-2 combo and pop them both at the same time, you lose the AoE and you lose the slow, but that's not too much of a problem if you're going toe-to-toe versus another god. So I died there, my first death to their Kali, which gives me 1 death and only 3 assists. Now, they do have Zeus and Anubis. Well, they have a lot of good characters, to be honest. Zeus is very good. Anubis is very good. A lot of crowd control, a lot of AoE damage. Cupid's a very good hunter. And then, of course, you've got Kali and Thor, which are 2 very, very good assassins. So the 4th skill I haven't talked about is my ulti, which is the Valkyries Discretion. It basically allows me to fly for a short period of time and rain magical attack damage down on a ground target. I get anywhere up to 4 shots, which I'm doing again here, so going in for a couple of shots. Managed to get the kill on Cupid, also get the kill on Anubis as well. I did dive a little bit too deep there, realised that my team wasn't with me. Tried to go for the Banish, but it was a bit of a waste. It's a very small ground target, so it's very, very difficult to sort of pinpoint exactly where you want it to hit. But I realised that most of my team aren't around and decide to back off a little bit there. I keep trying to use my Pulse ability whenever I can because the AoE damage is very good for weakening their creep wave. Unfortunately, it only lasts for a few seconds and it's got an 11-second cooldown, so you can't really sort of just fire it off continuously. But I certainly use it at every opportunity I get in an attempt to try and weaken the creep wave. So Neith gets the kill on their Thor. I'm using my Irradiate ability, just try and get some extra magical damage on the creep wave, saving my pulse on cooldown to try and get some of these gods. The good thing is, because it is AoE, is when their gods are actually hiding at the back of the creep wave, I can sort of hit them with the pulse and get a bit of damage to spread through the creep wave and hit the gods as well. So I keep getting a little bit too close to Kali, and I know it's going to be my downfall. I'm backing off again a little. Lost a lot of my health, but still got some good mana. I can see a few of their gods are actually got quite low health, but my ulti is still on cooldown. Not a lot I can do there. Massive amounts of AoE coming in from the ulti of Cupid and Anubis' ability as well. So they do have an awful lot of AoE and high damage output on their team. We have to be very, very careful here. Kali's just jumped in on me. I decide to go in and use my magical ability on Cupid and absolutely miss. I was trying to hit him with my pulse, but didn't quite get it. I thought the tower was actually going to take me out, but it was their Kali. So a bit of a dumb play from me. 2 kills to my name, 2 deaths and 3 assists. Getting some potions to help me stay in the lane a bit longer. Now, a lot of people say don't get greater meditation or salvation, but it is particularly useful in arena because you can't go back to the fountain to recover. So being able to regain your mana and your health, and at the same time pass some of that regeneration onto your teammates, is a very, very useful thing to have. So we're just over 4 minutes in. We have 7 kills to their 5. All of the towers are still in play. Slowly starting to get some of my gear. Now, I'm not using auto buy now because it is a lot better to manually buy the items that you want because you can tailor them specifically to the task at hand and particularly to the type of gods you're against. So, for example, if you're against anyone with a high amount of crowd control, you definitely want to go for beads. Thor drops in on me, I kind of get caught unawares, but I do manage to get the kill on him as Zeus pops his ulti and finishes me off. So, a little bit of a trade there, but I did manage to get another kill, which now puts me on 3-4-3. Trying to finish getting my demonic grip, but the item selector's playing up again, so I have to click a few buttons. Don't quite have enough gold for it yet, as their Anubis picks up a kill on our Xbalanque. So what you have to remember here is our entire team is actually ranged because they're all hunters, and hunters specialise in doing a high amount of damage to single targets. So they're not very good at mopping up the creep wave. That's really my job. But I also do have quite a fair bit of burst damage as well, mainly in the form of my ultimate. So I'm going to run back in. I can see that their health's getting quite low, particularly on... I think it's Artemis that's quite low health. So I run in, I hit my meditation, I get as close to everyone, my salvation, I get as close to everyone as I can and hit the button to give them all a bit of health and mana restoration, try and help them stay in the lane a bit longer. Now at this point we've pretty much been fighting dead center and they've now managed to push back a little bit towards our tower. We did get under their tower for a very short period of time and I blocked our Xbalanque there a little bit, which was a bit stupid. I see Kali jumping in. She's really annoying because she has that stun as Thor goes in and gets a kill on 2 of our players. I just managed to escape there, but I've hardly got any health left. I've still got some of my health restoration from my meditation. I've also got some from the health potion that I popped. Now I think their Kali tried to dive on me there, and I go for my ulti in the hope to get a kill or 2. I did manage to pick up the kill on their Thor. I knew it was stupid to stay in there. I was trying to use my banish to avoid being chased, but unfortunately it didn't work. So I picked up another kill and picked up another death, so I'm now on 4 for 4. So at this point I do feel like I've been a little bit of an asset to the team. I've certainly initiated, I've started a few fights, I've finished a few people off, but I've died as much as I've got kills, which has been very annoying. And they're actually slightly ahead on kills at the moment as well, with both me and Artemis being out of the fight. Our Artemis has noticed though that their Zeus isn't using his detonate ability. So there's a potential sort of weakness there or bad play on their part. And at this point we have lost a tower and we're starting to think, okay, maybe these guys were right. Maybe 4 hunters and a mage isn't enough against this team composition. They are a very strong team composition, but we press on anyway because why not? I go in with the pulse, do a bit of damage to their Kali, do a little bit of damage to the creep wave as well. Try to use my banish, see if I can knock somebody out of the fight. I was actually aiming for Cupid but missed. Thought it was going to hit Thor, but it didn't hit him either. So we managed to push them back now under their tower. Carly is very annoying, but she does like to keep diving forwards. As you can see, Zeus's AoE has a massive area of effect. Now, luckily, they haven't really got anyone with a lot of crowd control who can keep us in the radius, so we do manage to get out of it more often than not. I go in with my ultimate ability in the hope to get a kill, and I do. I pick up the kill on Anubis. Would have been nice to get a kill on another couple as well. I didn't, but they were finished off by Neith and Anhur, and I got assists on both of them because my ulti did hit them and do a fair bit of damage. Anhur dives on Cupid, doesn't quite get him. Their Zeus is under the tower. I decide to mop up the creep wave so that our creep wave can get under the tower more safely. Anhur helps me out and gives me a bit of a hand there. So as soon as our creep wave get in, I pop my salvation to give everybody a bit of health and mana regen, and we then go in and take their tower. So we're now 1-for-1 on towers, and I actually get the tower kill, which is quite nice. Pick up a award for that. I get an assist on Anhur's kill on Cupid, and that is their entire team killed, although Thor and Anubis have just regenerated. A frame drop there again, I apologise for that, not sure what's going on. So we go on their second tower. I drop my banish to stop Anubis getting under the tower, and it worked perfectly, and I destroy my second tower before going in on Thor. Don't get the kill, but Artemis picks it up, and I get the assist, so again, happy with that. A lot of my stuff's on cooldown. I back out there because I knew that Anubis was going to do something nasty and AoE-like. I pop my pulse and spam it towards them as much as possible. Now, with this being my first game with Carly, I hadn't... with this being my first game with Freya, I actually hadn't realised that the 1-2 ability combo was actually very effective as their Zeus picks me off. Because if you're going 1-to-1 with an enemy god, you should hit both of your abilities number 1 and 2. You won't do the splash damage and you won't do the slow, but you will be able to do huge amounts of ranged magical damage, which will grant you lifesteal as well. So if you're ever in a one-on-one situation, you should use your irradiate and your pulse. If you're going up against groups, you should use your pulse, and if you're just going one-on-one and your pulse is on cooldown, you should use your irradiate. So, Anhur is the only person who is currently left alive. He's got to be very, very careful here because he needs to guard the tower. Luckily, of course, they don't have a creep wave there at the moment, which means they can't get within the tower's radius. Their creep wave has now arrived. I was telling Anhur to be careful because at this point he was holding he was sort of stopping them from taking the tower, and he needed to stay alive. I run in as quick as I can using my sprint to get forward as much as possible. I decide to go in with my ulti because I can already see that a couple of them are on low health. I do pick up the kill on Anubis. Didn't quite get the kill on Zeus because I didn't get the third or fourth shot. I'm actually not entirely sure what determines the number of shots you get because my ultimate is level 3. I managed to knock their Cupid up in the air using my my banish, but we don't quite get the kill on him. There wasn't quite enough people around to be able to do that. It's turning a little bit manic here. I'm right in the middle of Carly's ultimate there, and I really shouldn't be because it makes her immune, but she gets caught up in Artemis's trap, which is a good indication to me that she no longer has her immunities, and I go in and do a lot of damage. I once again knock their Cupid up in the air with my banish, and Artemis gets the kill with my assist, as our Anhur takes the kill on their Thor. They also get a couple of kills back against us, taking out our Jivalanke and our Anhur, as we go in and try and mop up the creep wave. Currently Zeus and Anubis guarding the Phoenix. And you've got to be careful with Anubis. He has a lot of range and he does a lot of damage, and most of it's AoE. So I'm going in with my pulse, first of all to try and fire it at the creep wave and slow them down, but I'm also hoping some of it hits Zeus as well. And a fair bit of it does. We do definitely do some damage to Zeus. Again, there goes Anubis with his annoying AoE. But as he's just pretty much fired off all of his abilities, I go in with my pulse. Didn't quite get the kill on him. Tried to get in a little bit closer, but got targeted by the Phoenix, so I decided to back out. But they're now on very, very low health as the rest of their team arrives to help them. My ultimate comes off cooldown. I decide to go in with the pulse first. Hopefully take out a bit of their creep wave. Maybe do some more damage. Go in with my ultimate. Bad shots all around. I was aiming for Anubis. If I'd have hit him with all 3 shots, he would have died, as their Thor lands on me and turns me into mincemeat. But 8 kills to 6 deaths. I'm starting to pull back. My KD is looking a bit more positive, and I now have 9 assists to my name. having a look at this because it's not the actual item that it is telling me when I click on the recommended items. It does do this sometimes and it bugs out, and you have to actually click on the all items tab and then back to the recommended tab. So I'm trying to get my breastplate that reduces my the cooldown of my abilities, which will be absolutely brilliant if I can have a shorter cooldown on my ultimate, because it's a very, very useful ability. But it's 20 seconds till I'm back in the game, so I decide to watch the fight through the eyes of others. A lot of hunters out there trying to deal with stuff. Xbalanque is using his stun. Not sure if he actually gets a kill on anybody there. All of our guys are grouping up, trying their best to deal with Cully, who's down to minimal health and gets picked off by Xbalanque. So they're dealing with the creep wave nicely. I'm on my way back into the fight. Our entire team is alive, apart from Artemis, who's just been picked off by their Cupid. And also Zeus manages to pick off her as our Artemis picks off one of theirs. And then Anubis picks off Xbalanque. So there's a lot of trading going on here. I go in there and hit my sprint ability and go in and pick off their Anubis. Then I go in and pick off their Zeus. And then I go in and start beating on Cupid and get their Cupid. Triple kill. And their entire team at this point is dead. I get very, very happy and go rah in chat, because I was feeling a little bit pumped there. You know, my entire team was in the fountain, and I literally just ran in and got a triple kill on their team. So I'm doing as best as I can to try and mop up the creep wave. I know I haven't popped my pulse, which would be the quickest way to deal with these, but I'm waiting for my own guys to catch up, and I wanted to save my pulse for a time when it would be a little bit more useful, like now, where we can very, very quickly mop up this creep wave and allow our creeps to get under their fountain. So Thor's coming back out to have a look. Fires off his ability and backs off. He's now trying to deal with the creep wave. I try and back out of there because I don't want to get hit by him, but I do use my pulse to try and push him back. Quick turn behind me to try and see what my team is doing, how far away they are. They are catching up. Just being very, very careful here because it could do quite a lot of damage to me or Neath. And again, getting a little bit of slowdown here. Not too sure what's happening. Actually use NVIDIA Shadowplay to record this, so I'm not too sure what causes the frame drop. Most of the time it's fine. So in I go again with my salvation to give people a bit of heal over time and a bit of mana over time. In again with my ultimate, aiming for Anubis because he was the lowest health, but he was too far away and I ran out of time before I could get close enough to hit him. So he was quite lucky there. I took quite a bit of damage in doing all of that as well. Although most of their team is now quite low on health. I go in with my Banish and hit their Zeus just to be annoying because it stops him being able to run forward and do whatever it was he was planning to do. In with a few more shots from the pulse to try and mop up the creep wave. They're still on quite low health. Cupid puts down his ulti, so let's get out of there nice and quickly. Just trying to give Anhur a bit of protection there because I can see that he's being chased. I go in with my pulse, do a bit of damage to try and make them back off. Took a pretty massive hit there. I'm now down to very low health. I figure that I'm going to die quite quickly here. There's not an awful lot of point in trying to stay alive. So I dive on Cupid and he's a better shot than I am. And he manages to hit me. I apologise in chat because it was my own stupid fault. I do get a couple of assists there because I did quite a lot of damage to those guys. Decide to go in and finish off my Breastplate of Valor to reduce my cooldowns and start working towards my Rod of Tahuti. So I now have 11 kills, 7 deaths and 11 assists to my name. So still a positive KD, but could be better. So Anhur and Neath are trying to mop up the creep wave underneath the Phoenix. Their entire team is dead apart from Kali, who I'm not even sure where she is at this moment in time. Can't actually see her. Not sure whether she's hiding in the fountain or whether she is down the lane somewhere. But we have a creep wave under the Phoenix, so we are doing as much damage to it as possible. And the Phoenix is down. So they've got another creep wave spawning there. That really should be mopped up. Looks like their Kali was just sitting in the fountain. It's quite possible that she went AFK. But I'm back in the fight, so I'm now coming back in. Using my sprint ability to give myself and Xbalanque, who's right behind me, a bit of a speed boost. Hopefully get to the fight a little bit quicker. So the Kali's still down, but everybody else is in the fight. Our Artemis just gets picked off by Zeus. She was on very low health, so it was never going to last very long for her. They are starting to push out a little bit. I warn people to be careful. Let's wait until the team arrives and group up. There's no point being 1 on 5 and just running in and getting yourself killed, because it doesn't actually help anybody. Especially with a team like theirs. So I go in with my Banish. Now, my Banish actually hits Thor and knocks him up into the air, and Neith's shot then connects with Thor and does no damage because at that point he's currently immune. So that's demonstrating what I was saying earlier, that it's quite possible to cock it up and stop one of your teammates' hits from actually doing any damage if you hit the banish at the wrong time. So I was standing in a lot of AoE there, I took a lot of damage. I tried to fire off my salvation, which I did, as their Anubis picks up the kill on R and her. Their Thor is very, very low health and hiding at the back. I'm trying to pick off Cupid and then realise that Anubis is coming up at the side of me. He's hitting me with absolutely everything he's got, which is very, very annoying. I'm trying to sprint out of there. I hear Thor drop in behind me, and I just keep running as the tower picks off Thor for being too greedy and trying to dive me under the tower. GG Thor. So I'm just waiting for my heal over time to try and give me a little bit of health back before I run in close enough to be hit by anybody, because I don't have an awful lot of health left. Still waiting on a cooldown for my ultimate as I use my banish to knock Anubis in the air, which gives Artemis the time she needs to go in and push her boar off on Anubis as I pick up the kill on Cupid. So 12 kills for 7. Not too bad, not brilliant either, but as a team, we are 32 kills for 29. It's a very, very close game. We only have 3 kills more. We do still have 1 tower and our Phoenix, though, so we are technically doing better. I run with my sprint to try and give everybody some speed. Neith picks up the kill on Anubis. I was trying to use my ulti on Zeus, but didn't have the range to catch up with him, which was a bit of a shame. But they only have Kali, who's probably still AFK, given the fact that she is only level 15 to everybody else's 19 and 20. Which means Zeus is on his own. I hit him with my banish to knock him up in the air and let everybody else get close enough to deal with him. And Neith picks up the kill. Thor comes out and starts attacking Artemis. I go in with my pulse. As you can see, it does massive amount of damage now, even on its own. And that is without me using the Irradiate to give it the additional magic damage as well. Artemis goes in and starts pinging at him. Yeah, it looks like Kali is just sat in their fountain. Looks like she was AFK for the game. Don't even think I noticed during the game itself. It's only when you watch these things again via the replay you tend to notice these things. So I got myself in a little bit of a mess there. I was being hit by their Titan, I was being hit by Thor, and Cupid manages to pick up the kill. But I pick up my Rod of Tahuti and start working towards my Bancroft's Talon. Start to watch the rest of the fight through other players' eyes, because it's going to be a few seconds before I get back into the game. Neith's in a particularly bad position there. She has to be very, very careful. She's being chased down. Cupid, who is on very low health, is doing his absolute best to catch up with her. Fires off a couple of shots. So does Anubis, but misses completely. Luckily, Neith gets behind our creep wave, which gives her a little bit of protection. As we are now watching Gibelin running in. I just have a look to see if I can afford the next part of my Bancroft's Talon, which I will be able to any second now. And there we go, I picked that up 9 seconds before I'm back in the game. Gibelin is trying to take down the rest of their team, and I'm warning, obviously, everyone to be careful. If you're the last man alive, or if, you know, there's only 1 or 2 of you, don't rush in and sacrifice. You'll be much more useful if you stay alive and just run interference. Try and stay defensive. Try and clear up their creep wave. Just try and goad them into getting themselves killed under the tower, as I go in with my ultimate and pick up a kill on their Thor. Although Zeus does pick up the kill on Gibelin and almost picks up the kill on me. He actually does pick up the kill on me, which was very annoying. So I got into the fight and then I was straight back out again. This pretty much just leaves our Artemis and her to try and defend the lane. But this is what I was saying, you really need, when you've just got 1 or 2 people left, for them to try and stay defensive. Anher's diving in here, and he's probably going to get himself killed. In fact, he does get himself killed by Zeus. This now leaves Artemis to try and stop them attacking the lane. Now, Artemis does do quite well. She's being caught by Zeus's ulti there, and it's got her health down to next to nothing. Versus Cupid, she was very, very lucky there to dodge out of his attack and managed to hit Cupid for the kill. Luckily, she's got some healing going on, and Neith has now returned to the fight. So this is something that I think everybody should really pay attention to. If you play this game and the rest of your team is dead, particularly on a game like Arena or Assault, don't get yourself killed, play defensive, use everything you can in terms of AoE and crowd control. Even if you don't get any kills, if you do enough to slow them down and make them think twice about coming closer, if you can do anything to actually stop them until the rest of your team start to respawn and get back in the fight, it is going to be much, much more useful for you. So I catch up with Xbalanque and I pop my speed boost, so we both get the benefit of that. I can see Neith and Artemis are already at their Titan with a creep wave. Our Anhur is a little bit behind. He has just respawned. The Phoenix has just respawned, which is a bit of a pain. Now, what you've got to remember is that the Phoenix doesn't respawn with full health. It respawns every 3 minutes, but only with a limited amount of health. But the creep wave was more important to try and mop up at that point, as their gods start to push back out. I do manage to hit their Cupid with my Banish, taking him out of that fight for a few seconds. Mopping up the creep wave. Aiming for Cupid there with my pulse, but I was absolutely terrible shot and managed to miss absolutely everything. I go in with another pulse, get a couple of hits on Anubis and Cupid. Not doing a terrible amount of damage here. Decide to go up with my ulti. Decide to stop picking on their Zeus because he's the biggest threat. I pop my Irradiate there. Xbalanque tries his stun. Zeus tries to get away, and I pick up the kill on Zeus because he gets stunned by Xbalanque's ability. I pop my heal again, give everybody a bit more mana. Anhur decides he's going to just go in and tank the Phoenix, which at this level you pretty much can do quite effectively. Thor comes out and tries to sort of slow us down. He's doing exactly what I said you should be doing when you're the last man alive, is to just try and run interference. He's backing up to their Titan, makes it very, very difficult to attack him. Of course, they are a man down. It is worth noticing that this is technically a 5-on-4 fight, and we are still only up by 4 kills. So despite the fact that they're technically a man down and have been for a while, we're not doing particularly great against them. Of course, we are at their Titan, but they've done very, very well thus far. So at this point, everybody pretty much pops all of their abilities and just goes gun-ho on their Titan, and their Titan is down. And GG to everybody, especially all of those who thought that we were instantly going to lose because we were 4 hunters and a single mage. So that is Freya, the Norse Queen of the Valkyries. I must admit, I certainly enjoyed playing as her. I did think it was a bit of a strange thing having a mage who was melee. I wasn't sure how well that was going to work out. Any of you that have watched my previous Smite videos will know that I much prefer hunters and mages because I'm much better with ranged classes than I am with melee classes. But she does have some ranged abilities and a lot of utility. So, yeah, give her a try if you play Smite. I think she's actually a very, very interesting character to play. So, I hope you're still enjoying these videos. I'm going to keep making them for you. So, until next time, goodbye for now.